It's time for the Trackers.
Well, we had a streak there for a while with these animated movies where we only had a couple of curses in G-Force, but he came back to form in this one. We had 21 total curses in this movie. Kind of that theme that we see in a lot of these where a lot of them just show up in the second half of the movie as he starts to unravel and gets a lot more unhinged and wired about this stuff. But to partition it out, we had one use of hell and one use of shit, one use of asshole, 3 uses of Jesus or Christ, 3 uses of God, and 12 fucks, which I think we talked about. A number of them were in 1 or 2 scenes where he just goes off about it and stuff. So it's always fun when there's just rapid fire and I'm just sitting there like, okay, 5. And then I go to write it down, you know.
I've noticed a trend through the better written films is the variations of the curses are much more like there's a wider variety. Of course, fuck always wins, but there's more variety to the cursing rather than just fucking shit.
I kind of feel like fuck is just Nic Cage. Like that's his go-to because he's used it so far 354 times in everything we've watched.
There's literally a TV show where he says it's his favorite curse word. So
so I think when they just let him go unhinged a little bit, and that's just what he falls into because it's a perfect word for venting frustrations. So
it is.
He gets very frustrated in this movie. Yeah. So there we go. 12 is actually kind of on the lower side, but it's a lot for this film, especially when you take into effect that his character is sort of just a mostly mild-mannered nobody. But, you know, he snaps and you get it a few times. So that brings our total to 739 curses.
We didn't have a ton this season, but we did talk a lot about animated films. So... not surprising.
No.
And then we had a couple films where he was in it for 5 seconds, and then we had a film where he plays a Navy captain. Anytime he plays a hero, he doesn't really curse.
Yeah, he's pretty straight-laced.
Runtime, this is 102 minutes, which is sandwiched right between Vampire's Kiss and... a 3-way tie of Moonstruck, Weatherman, and Wicker Man. So about an hour and 42 minutes on this one, which is pretty par for the course for the better films. The think pieces. Not too long, not too short.
I mean, it also kind of shows that you can make a really good movie in an hour and a half. You don't have to.
Exactly.
Just write it well. 30 minutes each act. You know, you can
like we
wrap it up.
talked about with. Pig was only 92 minutes, and it was like perfectly, like each act was perfectly planned out.
That's why I hope he releases director's cut of Pig, because he said they shot like over 3 hours,
an extra half hour or something like that,
or like it could have been like 2 hours or something like that.
We talked about he shaved a ton off, and we were like, how?
I would love to see what
like
else
everything
he
was
shot
perfect
that he was willing to cut. Because I mean, in both cases, writer director. I mean. He didn't edit, he didn't edit Pig, but I mean, it's got to be tough to cut scenes out of your film that you actually shot. So I appreciate both these guys shaving it down and not being too sensitive about their work or too egotistical about what they shot.
Nudity, Dream Scenario had none, which I think it's only Sunny in this season that had any nudity. I don't think any of the other films had nudity.
Never on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So
Ant Bully.
Ant Bully.
Ant Bully, true. Yeah. And didn't we have Teen Titans Go as Baby Superman's ass?
Oh, yeah, Baby Superman's ass, yeah. That's true.
So surprisingly, 2 of the G-rated films had nudity in it for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
And then the one about a male gigolo.
State and country tracker. I'm not sure because the bulk of it was in Massachusetts. But when he goes to the ad agency, I thought it was in New York, but you think it's in Chicago.
I swear he said Chicago, but I could be wrong. We'll find
I don't remember. It doesn't really matter since they're not
done
new
both
states.
already.
Yeah, we've done both already, so it doesn't really matter. Only matters for how many times we've been to those places, which I am keeping track of for whatever reason. I don't know why.
We love trackers.
Budget versus gross. I could not find a solid, this is what the budget was, but I did find a guesstimate of $10 million, which feels right to me. A24, Nicolas Cage coming off of a few things that had done really well, or at least been, good, big return to form roles for him. So I'm sure he got a healthy portion of the budget, and 10 million feels realistic. So we're just going to go with that. $10 million budget, grossed 12.5, which brings our total up to, we didn't quite hit 2 billion as far as budgets this season, which I thought we were going to, but definitely next season. So $1.965.5 billion budget. And we have now made $4.589.1 billion on Nicolas Cage movies alone. And we're only 55 movies into this thing. Yeah. So that's a lot of money. Yeah. Lots and lots of money. And we have quite a few of those late 90s, early 2000s action movies left to do. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up. As far as our top grossing, this is nowhere near the top. Sandwiched right in between Wild at Heart and Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. This is kind of funny. And then ratings, this was our 28th R-rated film, finally back into the R ratings after having nonstop PG movies there with all of those cartoons. And that leads us over to the Nicolas Cage Kill Tracker.
This is again where we have to decide, do the dream sequences count?
Yeah. I'd say yes.
You say yes or no?
Yeah. I say yes.
Okay, because if they do, then you're looking at 4 kills, which would bring our total up to 206 for the entire run.
But then does that mean that his death
I'd say yes.
I would say if we're counting the kills, then yeah.
I'd say count a kill and a death for he killed himself and died.
So he killed himself, and then which resulted in him dying. So our first death in a long time, which brings us up to 15 across the 50 odd movies we've done. So
I mean, I'd say count just because it's funny, but I mean, in the context of the movie, they're treated like kills and deaths, I guess.
Yeah. I say fuck it, let's count it.
Let's count them.
Yeah.
It's been so long. Let's do it.
But then does that count as a resurrection? Because he didn't actually die because it was a dream.
I think we gave up on resurrection.
Yeah, I thought we stopped
let's just throw that shit out.
Resurrection.